and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. For those of you who do not know, back on December 20th of 2022, I had an MRI and was then diagnosed with a more than likely benign brain tumor known as a pituitary adenoma or prolactinoma. And I have been documenting this entire journey since before diagnosis through my treatment, and I am continuing to document the journey as well. So if you are interested, I will leave an entire playlist of videos related to this tumor down below. And in my diagnosis story video, I talked a lot about what it was like having a closed MRI and figured that I could do a dedicated video all about my experience with the closed MRI. I do want to warn you guys now that this video may have a bunch of jumping back and forth because I will be extracting the original clips from that original video just because it is a lot easier, because I do think I did a pretty good job describing everything in that video, and then I will also be jumping in here and there to add things. And if you guys do have any questions related to the MRI, definitely leave them down below and I will try my best to answer them. I also wanted to mention that on June 30th of 2023, I will be having a follow-up MRI. However, this MRI is going to be a little different because I will be in an open MRI machine, and I do plan on making an entire video comparing the closed MRI to the open MRI in an entirely separate video. And once that video is up, I will go ahead and link it down below. And the last thing that I wanted to mention before I jump into the video is that my doctor did prescribe me anxiety medication to help with the claustrophobia and anxiety of being in this closed MRI machine. I was prescribed Ativan and I was given 2 doses. The first dose I had to take 2 hours before going in for the MRI, and the second dose was an optional dose that I did in fact take, and I took that 30 minutes prior to going in for my MRI. And now let's go ahead and get started. Now I'm going to talk all about the actual MRI experience. So when I first got to the radiology department, I checked in and the lady brought me straight to an MRI screening room. I sat there with my mom. Thankfully, she was allowed to come in with me, and we just kind of sat there waiting. And then this guy named Jim came in, and let me tell you, Jim deserves an award. He was fantastic. He took me through this process from start to finish. He was so funny. He knew it was my birthday and tried to make me laugh as much as possible. But when Jim first came in the room and introduced himself, he sat down, told me absolutely everything that was going to happen and what they were doing. He even had laminated pictures to show me what they were looking for and what the images would look like and stuff like that. I had to sign a few things, and then it was time to go and get dressed, and I had to put on a Johnny gown as well as these very sexy pants. I will go ahead and insert a picture of what I looked like. The picture did not capture these sexy pants, which I'm so mad about because those things were golden. I wish I could have kept them. After I was dressed, Jim took me back to the room where my MRI was being done. Once I got into the MRI room, he had me take off my glasses and my mask and leave them on the windowsill, and then I had to go lie on the MRI table. And the worst part of this whole experience for me was probably the fact that I also had to have a cage over my face. I had to lay my head into this like helmet base thing, and then they put a cage over your face. But let me tell you, that was not a fun experience. Next, Jim went ahead and put an IV in because I had 2 parts to my MRI. I had a non-contrast portion, and then I also had a contrast portion. And first up was the non-contrast portion, but of course they're going to put the IV in now. So after they put the IV in, they put a triangle pillow under my knees to make me more comfortable, and they also attached padded armrests to the side of the MRI table. Next, they put a pair of earplugs in my ears, and they also put a pair of noise-canceling headphones on me that I had the option of listening to music through. However, I chose not to. And the reason that they put the earplugs and noise-canceling headphones on is because the MRI machine is super loud and makes a lot of knocking sounds and vibrations and stuff like that. Lastly, they snapped the face cage into place and sent me into the MRI machine. The best way I can describe the feeling of being in the MRI, it literally felt like I was either in a body bag or in one of those drawers that they put dead people in to keep them cold. That is like the best way I can explain it. I think a less morbid way for me to describe it would be if you were laying in a cooler with your face up and then someone went and put the lid over it, and between you and the top of the MRI machine, there's literally probably 12 inches, if that. I did have some silent panic moments. About 30 minutes in, they stopped the MRI, pulled me out, gave me the contrast, and then pushed me right back in to finish it. In total, I think I was in there for about an hour. and it was just super loud. I had the option of listening to music, but I couldn't listen to my own playlist, so it seemed kind of pointless to me. Next time I'm definitely gonna opt for like putting on Christmas music or something like that. And after they pulled me out, they went ahead and sent me back to the room where I got dressed, and I was able to leave. And then within a few hours, my results came through on my phone on the patient portal, and I was able to read through them all on my own, and I read through it, and it did in fact say that they did find something. Now I'm going to talk about a few tips that I have for any of you who are preparing to have a closed MRI. The first tip I have for you guys is that if you are claustrophobic or have anxiety, I highly recommend talking to your doctor and seeing if they can prescribe something for you. Like I said in the very beginning, I was prescribed Ativan, and it definitely took the edge off but didn't help completely. Another tip I have is that during the MRI, try to be as still as possible. This is something that the MRI tech is going to heavily enforce on you, is that you stay as still as possible, because if you are not still, they cannot get good images, and it does create motion artifact, and then the images don't end up being as clear as they could be. And if you do have too much movement, the MRI tech might have to go back and redo certain sets of images. Another tip I have for you guys is that if they give you the option to listen to music through the noise canceling headphones, I highly recommend doing that, because the loud noises and knocking of the MRI machine can be a little overwhelming. And my last tip for you guys is to speak up if you need to. I'm pretty sure this goes for every MRI, but you will have communication with the MRI tech who is on the outside performing the actual MRI. And at the facility I was at, and I'm assuming most other facilities do this as well, is that they do a test before they actually start the MRI and test to make sure they can hear you and that you can hear them. And if for some reason during the MRI you need to be taken out of the MRI, just speak up, and I'm sure they will be more than happy to assist you. If it does require you being pulled out of the MRI machine, just know that they will likely have to redo those set of images. So that was just my experience having the closed MRI. It was definitely a very long hour to get through, and I did not enjoy it at all, but it definitely was something that needed to be done, and I'm glad that I did do it, because I did find out that I had a tumor. If any of you guys have had a closed MRI, definitely let us all know what your experience was like in the comments down below, and if you guys have tips for anyone else as well. While you guys are down there, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I upload new content regularly, and would love it if you'd become part of our little family. Also be sure to hit the bell so that you are in fact notified every time I do upload a new video. I hope you guys liked this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys!